Imagine a league built by the people, for the people. A league dedicated to the economic development of your city. So the question becomes, how good are the 32 teams that play in the minor football league? Well, there's only one way to find out. You have to experience the MFL.
Welcome to another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Richard Myles Sr., CEO, founder, and chairman of the Minor Football League. I want to say good afternoon to everybody as we kick off our live show. As you know, you can always reach us on our website, mflishere.com. We're on all the social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, along with YouTube. I got great guests today. But I always want to point out still that everybody, please take caution out here. This pandemic is real, and I want people to know. Don't sleep on this. This is still, people have to understand that you're not invincible. That you can't go out there and mess around because you don't know who have it. And I often say all the time, you have my condolence for a lot of loved ones that lost family members in this pandemic. COVID-19, and I just want to tell everybody to be safe out there. As I stated before, I have lost some family members to the virus along with some friends, but I just want everybody to stay safe until we find out what it is. And as far as having a cure for it, we need people to really be responsible and take responsibility for yourself and for your loved one. I know you got cabin fever. Hey, this is the time you need to stay home. You're going to be glad that you had this opportunity to spend with your family members. But like I say, I want everybody to have a nice evening. And I got a special guest, Mr. Chuck Barlow, a former, and you know what, this guy right here, I can't say enough about. I'm gonna just say he's my hero. Played in the first Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs against the Green Bay Packers. I have him on the phone. Solomon. Solomon. This guy right here. I can't say enough about him. Solomon does a lot of stuff. He did some camps with the NFL when they had their combine. But we definitely will have Chuck on as well. But right now, let me bring him on right now. Hey, what's going on, sir?
This Chuck, we waiting on Coach Saul to jump in.
I'm waiting on Coach. I thought that was him, but hey, how you doing there, sir?
Man, I'm well. I can't complain. I can't complain at all.
Don't you tell me how nice the weather is down in Atlanta either, because we feel like hearing that. You know what I mean? We don't want to hear how nice it is down there.
Well, right now, the weather's actually kind of cold. It's not as warm as it usually is, but it's okay. We appreciate anything that God is doing for us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I tell people all the time, I say, a lot of people think they're in charge, but God's in charge, But right. Also, I want to get into the show because this is a charismatic young man here. He have done so many things. And he alumni down there at Morris Brown. Did I say it right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. That's why I got my Morris Brown stuff on today.
Yeah, I see. You notice I mentioned it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We all for the historical black schools. I was not had that honor, that opportunity to go to one, but I have much respect for our historical black schools. But right now, tell us about some of the things that you're doing, and also I want people to know he will be working with the MFL in a very vital capacity in terms of what we do when it's time to get things rolling. As we put up all the time, we tell people we're gonna move it back to 21 because we don't want any of these young men to catch something, or our staff, or nobody, family members and these young men to catch this virus that we really don't know what it is. But right now, tell us about yourself, young man.
Well, before I do that, I want to shout out all the health workers and everybody who is supporting families during this pandemic. I want to shout out to all of the high school and college graduates, not just the HBCU graduates, but all the graduates. This has been a very challenging year for everyone, and I just want to make sure that we don't forget about those who have fought, who are fighting hard for our families and our communities, and those students who have done the work and have earned the right to graduate, but unfortunately during this pandemic, they haven't, had the opportunity to walk across the stage like many of us have. So I want to make sure that before I get into anything that I want to talk about, I want to make sure that we acknowledge those individuals, because we could be nowhere without them. Many of them even went to HBCUs. But I think this is a time for us to come together. And, I appreciate the MFL taking this opportunity to not only just talk about sports and football and how guys can play professionally, but how can we be part of rebuilding our communities? This pandemic is just showing us that things are going to be different as we get back on track. And we have to make sure that we acknowledge those organizations and people who are out there on the front lines every day doing the work.
And I would be remiss if I didn't really acknowledge the wives and the family members that allow us to do the things that we had opportunity to do, because that puts a lot of strain on them too, even before the pandemic happened. So these are some of the type of things that I want everybody to understand, that we do care and we do have their best interest in heart, the MFL. So in saying that, tell us about yourself, young man.
Yeah, so I'm Chuck Barlow Jr. I'm here in Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta for over 40 years. I had a chance to attend Benjamin E. Mays High School, played football there, went on to Morris Brown College, played under Joe Crosby, Solomon Brannan while I was there. While I was there, I had a chance to participate in a lot of different activities, not just sports related. I also served as the SGA vice president when I was there, because I understood the importance of student issues and going and talking to all the other leaders at the other AU Center schools, Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, Atlanta. We were part of the 40th anniversary of the Atlanta student movement, which was part of the civil rights movement back in the 60s. And when Coach Saul gets a chance to jump on, he can talk about some of that too, because he was around during the time when, the schools had issues in terms of, students going and want to be a part of marches. The football players would go down and walk with the students and protect the young women who were out there doing on the front lines, fighting for all of us to have the rights that we all enjoy today. So I grew up in a family who, my family went to HBCUs. I mean, I have family members that also went to Clark, Atlanta, Morehouse, Spelman, and other schools. And I think it's important as we talk about how we move forward, where's the unity? We got to bring our alumni back together, our leadership together, to understand that we have to work collaboratively and collectively in order for our communities to get better. So in part of my experience, being the SGA vice president, I had to deal with student issues and grievances. And so, in doing that, I had a chance to learn how to communicate with other people. And you don't always get to work with people that you do like. I mean, unfortunately, we would want to say, oh yeah, I love to work for this person and that person, but that's not how the world works. And so Morris Brown taught me how to work with difficult people and be able to work in difficult situations. While I was at Morris Brown, we had a trainer by the name of Eric Lucas. Coach Lucas, when he left Morris Brown, he went over to Westminster. He's still there. He's been the athletic director there for 13 years. Awesome gentleman from Canada. Had spent a lot of time at Florida State, and then he came to Morris Brown. And when I tell you, he gave us everything he had, taught me a lot. And when they started doing the NFL scout camps and combines, because of the hard work that I put in, as a student athlete, he was impressed, and he asked me to come on and be a part of that. So I spent about 5 or 6 years doing the scout camps and combines, along with the director, Craig Federico, who I think they were also running Velocity at the time, which a lot of athletes were coming to Atlanta and training with them, even when we were training at Morris Brown. A lot of people don't know that, but a lot of guys from other HBCUs and some of the other major D1 schools were coming and training in Atlanta, and some of them would train with us at Morris Brown.
Wow.
And So I had an opportunity to do that. But let me go back a little bit. You know, in high school, Georgia high school football is a serious thing. Okay.
That's what they in the South, they say football is big.
Hey, you know, they always keep trying to say it's just
from
about
us now. You know, we pretty rough up here too. You know, we known as the beast in the East now. So, you know, not taking nothing from the schools down the South, but I heard they had great program, and a lot of former NFL players come out of this from the, you know, the historical black colleges as well as the schools down there in the South. You know, and before I want to touch on something too, not to, you know, really cut you off, but tell the audience, the MFL Nation, what does it mean to have an MFL franchise down in Atlanta?
Well, first of all, the MFL is a great organization, and the fact that they understand that there are some players who have great talents, they have speed, you know, they can do a lot of things, but they don't have the experience. Right. And for those who have never played or even been to a NFL combine or a camp, you know, everybody's All-American, right? And if everybody's All-American, what?
But I just want to make you laugh in a minute. That's what the guy said to me my freshman year up in college, up in Arizona State. The guy told me, he said, what position you play? So I said, strong safety. He said, wow, you came a long way, because my man, he played strong safety. He All-American. I said, shoot, I thought we all was Americans here. You know what I mean? So saying that didn't really mean anything to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So didn't mean to cut you off, but it was ironic that you said that, because it's, you know, all the guys and then the predominant black schools are great players. And no doubt, but they don't get the opportunity to show what they can do. And as I always say, it's not the guy's not good enough to play in the NFL. It's not enough room. And I always say they cannot look at all the best players in the country. It's impossible.
Right. Well, I mean, let me kind of go back on what you just said and touch on a few things. Now, I played with guys who played in the NFL. Tadpole, Roosevelt Blackman, who was down there in Belglades. You got Horace Cook, who played for the North Carolina Panthers for a second. You had James Thornton, who the #1 draft pick in NFL Europe. These are teammates that I played with at Morris Brown now. He was the #1 overall draft pick of NFL Europe, ran a 4.3. You had people like Hilton Alexander that was out there in San Francisco for a minute. You had Dante Curry, who played for the Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, and I think he ended his career with the Carolina Panthers. These were my teammates. So I think that sometimes it's not just about some of the guys may not have the experience. Some of them do. And some of them just need to get a shot. You know, they just got to get a shot and get the opportunity and be able to get the time. You know, a lot of the guys will tell you when they go to camp, you know, they may give you 3 reps.
Yeah. A
lot of guys with HBCUs will tell you they give you 5 reps, 3 reps in camp. And if you don't, you know, go all out in those 3 to 5 reps, you won't get more. So I think we have to
ball thrown purposely. The ball that might not be a good pass or something, but you get that little window to show what you can do. But that's why I say, what does it mean to have an MFL franchise in Atlanta?
See, that's what I'm saying. With that being said, there's talent. Georgia is full of talent. When you look at recruiting in the country and you look at where some of these guys are from who play on these NFL teams, a lot of them are from the South and a lot of them are from Georgia. They may not play at Georgia colleges and universities, but they play high school ball here. Let me just tell you one that I played against, Jamal Lewis. He played with Douglas High School. I played against Jamal in high school. He was Jamal Lewis in high school. That's just a name, just one. And I want to name that because he came up there in Baltimore and he was the first, rookie running back to ever win the Super Bowl. So those are the type of, that's just one example I can give you about what Georgia has to offer. And with a Georgia franchise here, you're talking about guys who really want to, you know, still play and get an opportunity. But like you said, other places it's just too, you know, crowded. I mean, it's not enough room in the NFL to develop talent. When you get to that location or you get to that place, you have to be performing at your top ability. You know, and we got guys right now, you know, who are at HBCUs who are doing the best in their position. And I think that it's important that we create something like the MFL in terms of having teams, not just here in Georgia, but internationally, where guys get to play against top level competition. Guys who should be playing may have had an injury, may have had other circumstances in life, that may have caused them to have to step away for a second. But I think having a franchise in Georgia is awesome, the Georgia Warriors, because guess what? We got the talent and we have the coaches. And I think that, with the NFL Players Association being the Atlanta chapter being one of the largest here in Atlanta, a lot of former NFL players and even coaches who are in the area and the community could take advantage of some of these franchise opportunities.
Absolutely, and that's the whole thing. And the whole what the MFL is about is the laboratory of change, meaning beyond the field, where we bring former players from the field to the front office. We talk about GM positions, coaches position. And I made the comment for years about the Rooney Rule, which just don't make sense. But now all of a sudden, I say the Rooney Rule says you have to interview African American coaches. Why interview them? Why not hire a certain amount of African American coaches? Now I heard this week they was talking about. They must have heard me talking as usual. Now they're saying if you hire African American coach, you would move up in the draft. That's you know what that sound like, right? Come on, don't be condescending to us. Why don't you say you didn't hire this guy because he was qualified for the position? Not because if you take him, okay, we'll move you up in position. That's a slap in the face, And I don't want to get into that too much because, like I say, the NFL is the NFL. We here to talk about the MFL, but I had to comment on that because I think that's a big slap in the face. So anybody that's happy about that, it's a lot of quality guys out there should have been coaching in the NFL, and not because their father was coaches there and everything. You know how that is in there. You get jobs there because of who you know. But that's why I'm trying to get former players to understand the MFL is the laboratory of change. We want to give guys an opportunity to come from the field to the front office. We want them to understand the significance of this. Not only that, we want them to understand the fact that there's ownership here because we African Americans, people of color, are the biggest consumers in America. We have nothing to show for it. $2 trillion a year go through our hands, but yet and still, excuse me, we have nothing to show for it. That bothers me. You know what I mean? That bothers me.
Well, I think we are in a different time, and I think even with some of the things that we've seen in the past, people are in a different mindset. And I mean, I can appreciate the NFL understanding that, and that yes, they do need to make some changes, but let's make sure that we can work collaboratively with other organizations that have already existed, like the MFL for 28 years, right? And let's create a platform. Let's do something that has been suggested for years. And finally, actually let's move forward. Why not try it? When you think about the NFL and you think about black colleges, right? Like, let's just be honest. How many black college players in the top 10?
Yeah. Hey.
Right? I mean, I'm just saying, right? You start talking about Jerry Rice and you start talking about, some of these guys. I mean, hey, give them what a credit is due. And we know that those guys have sacrificed a lot, to get to those levels. And it's very hard for them to even support their institutions when the larger brand has to understand the value. And I think that's what I'm basically saying is that how do we bring value back to these conversations? Yes, we could make it more of a, a back and forth about what you have not done before, but we all are grown. In other words, when we grow up and we realize that we're in a different time and space and we all are adults, it's time for us to sit down at the table and make room and space for everybody so that we can make sure that these young men are not out here running around in the streets because nobody is giving them an opportunity to do something that they're passionate about.
Well, and also, in your statement earlier, you're right. But we know that the historical black colleges saved the AFL when Lamar Hunt started the AFL. And the NFL had probably told him we have a moratorium, but he was smart enough to go to the HBCUs and get the players. And when they talk about great players, what about Willie Lanier, Buck Buchanan, You know, don't let, see, I'm dating myself right now, but don't let me go back and start telling you, you know, the players were there. And that was essentially saved the AFL, because he did go get those players, Otis Taylor, players like that. You went and got those players from historical black schools, and they held their own. And as you can see, as when they got in there, when the first Super Bowl, although Kansas City lost, look what a lot of those players, what schools they were from. Right. So, you know, I tell people all the time, it's, you know, the MFL would embrace, you know, historical black colleges. We always tried to do that. But, you know, we still have our people think, you know, we want to go there because the ice is more colder there. But let me tell you something. If you can play, you know, and you sitting down or don't get an opportunity, that's like out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? Right. But here you have the opportunity to play. Right. And everywhere.
And let's be honest. I mean, you got schools like North Carolina A&T, Alcorn State, you know what I mean, who putting guys in the league. You think about it. Carl McNair. I mean, not Carl McNair, Steve McNair.
Absolutely.
Steve McNair made it to be the top in the top 3 for Heisman Trophy candidates. Okay. Right. And he was still one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever come out of play college football. Let's not even just say HBCUs. But let's just make sure that we understand that also HBCUs have provided another secondary opportunity for Division I players. How many of these guys have an extra graduate year who actually go down to an HBCU because the scouts or anybody has said to them, hey, look, you need another year, and they go to that HBCU. But what we're saying is we're not bashing anybody. What we're saying is, hey, guys,
we're not at all, because you can't tell us what to do with that league. We're talking about MFL. And we're talking about the golden opportunity that people of color and minority play have an opportunity to play here. I mean, actually play and excel and show them what you can do in terms of, we know what the athletes are, what the athletes can do. All I'm saying to them is understand and recognize what the MFL is doing. This is our 25th year. We've been around for a while. We still here. No matter what overlord leagues tried to start, the Lions League, when they started the XFL, but the MFL, we're still here. You know, in spite of all that. And because you have all this money, that don't mean anything if you don't have the right concept. Right. You know what I mean? So I'm saying it's great opportunity here for coaching. It's great opportunity here for ownership and GM position. Not only that, for the kids in school, you have a intern opportunity here. If you're in there for sports management, intern, marketing, PR, you know, all these types of things, you can come to the MFL and do these things. Get an opportunity to do the things that you want to do in life and not have to settle for something else. That's the whole premise of us being here, and the fact that we are all around the country, and the fact that we're going to Africa, the fact that we're taking 16 franchises over to Africa, and they're excited. And it's a shame they're more excited over there than they are here. For somebody to be here. So I'm saying, you know, no, I'm not bashing anybody, because I'm the type of person, I'm happy for anybody doing anything. And I tell people all the time, you can't tell somebody else to do with their league, but stop complaining about what they're doing and do something about it. That's you know,
and that's what we are. That's what we are.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that you know, with the relationship that we have in Africa, like I've had a chance to travel to Rwanda and Burundi myself. Great people, just like it's great people all around the world, right? And I think that opening up those opportunities for those young men and young women to learn the business, you know, be a part of ownership.
There you go.
You know, see the pipeline all the way through to, you know, cradle to careers, you know, understanding that ownership is the end game, not just, you know, employment. You know, being able to use the franchises to be able to invest in youth programs, making sure students understand what STEM and STEAM, you know, activities and opportunities are. Why are we waiting on students to wait to build skills? If they have skills and talents, we should be offering those opportunities, you know, as soon as possible. You know, I have a young man that I'm working with who had about 15 guys that he helped from Africa come over to America, and they actually went into the draft this year. So, I mean, you know.
Absolutely. Did you see that draft?
Yeah, I
you see how
did.
many
And
African women
I did see the draft. And guess what? He
A
sent me
lot
the
of
text
talent.
message. He sent me the text message of them telling him, man, thank you, man. You know, man, if you never had thought about us and helped us do this, we would never had this opportunity. But what he was saying is we would love to expand that, right? But we've also have communities right here in Atlanta, west side of Atlanta, you know, where we had students in schools and alumni who've graduated from school just sitting around. And, you know, we got to offer better and more opportunities for our young men and women in our
Absolutely.
communities. And I feel like the MFL is the perfect vehicle for that, because you talk about athletes after they finish playing. Who is responsible for showing them how to prepare for careers?
Absolutely, beyond the field. And more importantly, now you don't have to come to the United States. We're going to put 16 franchises over in Africa where you're talking about ownership now. Now stay home. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people want that opportunity over there and really don't want to come all the way over here. That's the whole purpose and the premise of having the 16 franchises over in Africa, Egypt, you know, in Nigeria, you know, taking these franchises over there. And also, you know, always say you're talking about economic development, jobs, man. Without no jobs, and when you look at all the things that the MFL have done over the years, and we believe in putting kids first, because young people, you know, at that age, as you know, and you've been doing this a long time, it's you know, we always used to worry about the young people and what happened. Okay, that's not who need help now. I mean, of course, they still need help for young people, but these young people nowadays is kind of sharp in terms of academic and the social media stuff. But when you get over there, when you think about this, man, ownership. Okay, now you're talking about owning something. Now you're not working with people, you own it. Okay, so these are the types of things that I get excited about when we talk about the MFL and the things that we're doing. I'm just so excited about it, and people like you along with the organization, because all the things that you do, and I don't think a lot of people recognize, or you got enough credit for all the things you do. Not that you want to. I know you and your wife have. I want you to tell our audience briefly, because you and your wife doing some great things in terms of getting young people ready for these jobs, and I know y'all doing a lot of great things. Won't you tell tell the MFL Nation some of the things that you all doing?
Well, we do a couple things in the community. It's really, you know, it's really what we do. You know, I tell people if I won't do it for free, I won't do it for money. That's my motto. However, we know we run a nonprofit called SASI, Saving Our Sons and Sisters International. We're really we have a 4-generation model where you got to be able to connect the dots from pre-K all the way through senior citizens. So we kind of have a cyclical model so that nobody expires. You know, most people think in a linear context where once you get old, you just die off and people forget about you. Where we look at it as in when you retire, that doesn't mean you quit. You just move to another position on the wheel, right? And then when you move on that position on the wheel, now somebody can learn from you. You can have a grandkid that you probably never had, right? Everybody who is a older person is not necessarily a grandparent, but through our model, you become that grandparent. That young person who doesn't have a grandparent, now they have a grandparent. And so it's ways for us to be able to connect dots in our communities. We've been doing summer camps for the last 9 years in community spaces. Like we have a model that actually helps you to develop, create revenue and funds to be able to help do youth programming throughout the year. We're all about creating models that give back to the community, that give back to the parents. You know, trading, how valuable is your time? You know, do you have a skill set that you can help us with to be able to exchange the value? Because if you have 4 or 5 kids, a quality summer camp experience is going to be very expensive. Absolutely. And especially now with COVID-19, you know, what we're trying to do is make sure that we have asset maps and help people identify where are the resources in your community. Like, it's very important for us to realize that we must duplicate ourselves. If you're doing something good and you're doing something well, how do you find other young people and other organizations that are near you that share your vision? Because it's not about the I, it's about the we. And I think if we start moving and thinking collectively, we could take care of a lot of these things. And just kind of getting back to my sports piece, I've had to pull back because of COVID and not do a lot of my training. But you got people out there, Grind Atlanta, who got athletes who were supposed to be in that HBCU combine, and unfortunately, that's not happening. But, the MFL will be prepared to offer opportunities to young people who are going to these schools, who are training, trying to prepare themselves for the next opportunity. And even guys who didn't get into some of these other leagues that they're trying to get into. I think the MFL and being in Atlanta, which is one of the greatest cities you could ever be in, even with the smaller cities around them, College Park, East Point, Hateville, Union City, Fairburn, when you start talking about all the little small cities around them and the leadership that you have that reflects a lot of the community that, they serve, this is a great opportunity for ownership. This is a great opportunity for us to say, if you give us something in terms of your time and your energy, we as a community owe you back. Like a lot of these major corporations and businesses are experiencing that right now, right? If nobody is buying your products and your services, guess what? You don't have that same amount of revenue. And so as we move forward, thinking about more of a collective impact model, using the appreciative inquiry, and making sure that we connect with people who are serving our constituents in our communities, making sure that the smaller nonprofits, making sure that these small businesses and entrepreneurs who are actually providing a valuable service get the support that they need. Looking at the Black business associations that we have in our communities, how can the MFL help them, like run a commercial while we're doing our live shows, Right. We haven't even touched on the combines yet, but once we get the combines rolling, we're looking at trying to make sure that people support local businesses. I'm all about, I call it global. Think global, act local. If you don't support the businesses in your community, they will what? Shut down.
They will shut down.
And so as we look at this, how do we combine some of these best practices? We've been here before. I mean, I think you talked about it before, and I think I shared, and I think Coach Saul had some technical difficulties, but, I wanted him to even talk about when he, when this happened before with their situation. We've always been able to be resilient as a people,
Absolutely.
But we got to do more in terms of fixing our own problems, fixing the things that we have a problem with.
And because the norm is gone now, and we have to understand that we have to go back to what we used to do. We have to depend on each other. We have a viable product here. We have everything else. We have the MFL apparel. I mean, we have programs that we do working with at-risk youth. So the MFL has been around a long time and doing things. Not that we're not new. It's new to some people, but we're not new by no means. Right. But now people get an opportunity to actually experience what the MFL is doing, because now you're home. It's not happening now. So you hear right now, they say they had 20 million people applying for unemployment. Then you also hear people, well, ain't no problem, because in a couple of more months, I'll be retired. You could live off 2 checks. How you gonna live off 1? You know what I mean? So we got to stop thinking like that. We got to think about empowering ourselves and understand strength in numbers. And we got to understand that what we're doing, this is something that the norm is gone now. And things that the people that was there at first, I mean, now they realize right now that that's gone now. Now what you gonna do?
Everybody's at home.
Reinvent ourselves. Absolutely. We got to do things that that's going to help us in the long run, because I'm telling you right now, we don't understand how serious this is, and then we have people that's not taking it serious. They still going out there, no face mask, no gloves, and they don't know what it is. So if you don't know that you're spreading it to someone else, you got to understand that, you have to understand what we're doing as a people, and understand that what we're trying to do is the betterment of all of us. You got all these young people come out of colleges, and, we want to give them the opportunity that they deserve. an opportunity to do what you need to do in terms of understanding that the MFL is beyond the field. You can't play football forever, then what? But we're going to show you how to invest your money. We're going to show you how to ownership. And, you know, we all, we fast to always buy something that we really don't need. We don't need stuff to validate who we are, although a lot of us think that way. And it's a shame that we think that way, but we can't condemn them for it. We got to pull them along and say, hey, look, we got to regroup now. Things are different. Telling you, this pandemic gonna make people see a lot of things differently. As you know, I mean, everything is different now. And as soon as they understand that and take this seriously, you know, we got a long way to go, because this is really gonna be an uphill battle, as I see it.
Well, you know, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I said, you know, everybody been complaining about the people that they don't like at work, right?
now
you see people complain about the person they have at home in the mirror. You know, it's really not necessarily about all the outside people, man. We got to learn how to deal with our internal stress. A lot of people are going through mental crisis right now. People don't understand mental health is a good thing. You know, if you're going through mental crisis, that's a bad thing. And not bad in a way where you can't get help. And I tell, you know, anybody who is going through a mental crisis, please get you some help. You know, there's somebody and there's some organizations out there that can help you. You're not in isolation. Don't feel like you're alone and you're the only person going through this. Get you some help. You know, they say the domestic violence cases and all these things have gone up, man. And I just ask our brothers and our sisters, man, look, if you can't do nothing but just stop and pray or go outside, take time, man, because, you know, I just saw the news, man. They had a guy who strangled his wife to death, a surgeon, a robotic surgeon, you know, strangled his wife to death. How could you imagine doing that? I mean, but you think about it, people are under a lot of mental stress, and people don't know how to respond. And I think that we have to take some steps back and make sure that people understand that they need more community education on the mental health issues. You got a lot of mental health professionals out here who are willing to give the information. You know, there are national hotlines, there are state hotlines, there are local places. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if somebody has reached out to you, do not ignore them. Reach out to them. And that's why, you know, I joined the MFL, because the MFL is about conversation like this, not just about the field. Like if we only can talk about things on the field, then it's not real. We have to be able to go into the communities and help to solve some of the problems. It's our responsibility.
Absolutely. You know? And that's some of the things that we've been doing for 25 years. And the fact that we do, and like for our listening audience, you can contact us. Our website is mflishere.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. These are, you can get in contact with the MFL. Also, we do have franchises all over the country right now. Down in Florida, we have the Bears down there. We got Coach Knight down there, our GM down there doing a great job. Up in Rochester, New York, we got, you know, Pat Freeman doing an outstanding job. Up in Michigan, and I mean, where we got the franchises, that it's all over the country. You know, we're as far as New York, New Jersey, Ohio, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Tennessee, you know, these are some of the North Carolina, South Carolina. These are where the franchises are. Tennessee, and these are franchises that people do not have to go from your area. So when hopefully when things do open up, this is not a cattle call. We're going to have a 53-man roster. We're going to sign 53 men, players. And in all the different areas where we have the combine, you will see this gentleman right here. You'll see him there. You know what I mean? He'll be there putting this together. So these are some of the things that we're doing up in Michigan. You know, you think about where we had these franchises, and this is the opportunity. So you young men, I tell them, you know, you can register online. And I tell guys, you know, don't worry about sitting home and say, well, I'll try and see the NFL call me next year. Now you just sit down, you just sit on the couch another whole year. Okay, you're older. Okay, Now you got kids coming behind you, you know, vying for them same positions. Why would they look at you, you know, where you can play now? You get your opportunity
Get
to
that
play now.
film.
You
Yes,
know, get
sir.
that film. Absolutely. So, you know, we want people to understand, yes, we have dance teams, you know, somebody, yes, we have dance teams for all the different franchises, and we
Right.
also the players have to do 100 hours of community service, not because they paid. That's because that's in their contract. So we want to be a part of the community. We're not coming in taking anything. You know, we there to give. We there to, like I say, do it with a laboratory of change. Yes,
Right.
we have an opportunity for women GMs. We want everybody
Right.
sitting at the table. You know, so this is an opportunity at that, you know, I want people to understand and don't take lightly. You know, I always say documentation be conversation. I mean,
That's
look at
right.
our track record. And a lot of people say, well, I didn't know y'all was there. Oh, yeah, you know, this is new. No, it's new to you. It's not new. But because now, and I always say, you know, God work in mysterious ways, you know.
Right.
Now, you know, this happened, things happen for a reason. Now it gives people an opportunity. Now you're home. Now you get an opportunity to find out about something you didn't know about.
That's
And
right.
we
That's
there
right.
all the time. But because
That's
of the
right.
hustle and bustle of your life and all the things that you're doing, you didn't have to, couldn't take time to look at this. You didn't have time to relate to your wife and the kids. Now you got to do that. And you have problems. So this is the time I say embrace this time that we have. You know, and I want everybody to understand that it's very important that people take this, you know, don't take all this light. And I'm not just talking about the NFL. I'm talking about life, period, and the things you have to do with your significant other, your kids. You know, spend time with it breaks because you know the mind promise. You know what I mean? So these are the types of things that we want people to understand about what we're doing here. Like I said, we tell people to come experience the MFL, and we have great people that are part of this, and we interviewing people all the time. No, we're not just picking anybody. We want you to have we want people to have a great a coaching rec. But I guarantee you, right here is not a glass ceiling on anything. We're giving people an opportunity that's qualified.
Right.
So these are some of the things that we're doing. And also getting down in the lineup, I also want you to expand on the fact that what Mars Brown get ready to do, you know, I'm glad they got their accreditation back, you know, and the opportunity and how the MFL can help. Because like I say, we just come in the community to take anything. We come in to be a part of the community. So tell us about some of the things that you do with the school and how can MFL be of assistance to you guys?
Well, first, let me make one correction. Uh, we don't have our accreditation back yet. We're working towards that. We're on
Oh,
our
I
way.
heard. Okay, well, maybe that's a blessing. That's telling you something. You know, when you
Well,
talk about
hey,
something
look,
that
hey,
happened.
look. We accept any blessings that's coming our way. But we do
Right.
have some good news. We just named our 19th president, Dr. Kevin James,
Okay.
who's been working diligently to get Morris Brown's back on track with our accreditation and even our, new programs, innovative programs and partnerships to help, be a new model moving forward. Because Morris Brown, we already went through some of this stuff. We've already had to restructure. So this is just to give us an opportunity to actually serve the way that other organizations now are going to have to readjust themselves. And then also we have an alumni affairs organization that have really worked with other collaborative partners like Vine City and other organizations to see what is it that we can do to help the community, not just build something that would be great for Morris Brown, but how can our HBCUs become hubs in our communities of color, right? And working with our other institutions like Morehouse College and Clark Atlanta University and Spelman College and ITC and Morehouse School of Medicine, and be the models that we were created. Like most people don't know it, but Morris Brown was a part of the Atlanta University Center, which is the largest conglomeration of Black colleges and universities in the world. It was a model. One of the great people that everybody always talks about, W.E.B. Du Bois,
There you go.
taught at Atlanta University, did the first
Okay.
Black study on Black health and wealth. You should check it out. He has a great book out. where he actually lays out data on Black excellence and how we were able to, in 35 years, be able to build, excellence and wealth, and be able to have models in books and journals showing that we are contributors to this world and this country, and not just consumers. And we never were supposed to be just consumers, but we have to change and transform our mindsets and get away from the things that we've been taught. Some things need to be unlearned. And I think, when you look at what W.E.B. Du Bois did, he was one of the first Black data scientists who actually used graphs that people had never seen before. And he presented at the Paris Expose, where he showed this to the world, where in the same exhibition, they had people in cages, where he had people in suits and who were doing science projects and experiments and research. And so I think like I said before, sometimes when God does a thing, he does it in confusion and in disastrous moments where some people say, oh, I would never try that. And so I think what we're saying is we're on the heels of something new, something that will bring us closer together for those who want to be, and those who don't want to be, we can't force them. But it's time for a new breath of fresh air. It's time for us to reconcile our differences, right? And find ways to work together and be the true global citizens and supporting each other, looking at the environmental justice and climate action, because you can't leave people of color out of those conversations. Many of them are even scientists who've contributed to helping these efforts and are not getting credit. Like I think about a lot of the alumni from our PWIs like yourself, who, you may not went to a HBCU, but the respect that you showed for HBCUs and the fact that you helped your own institution and you're working out trying to help other people and not just your own is honorable. And I think that not enough people step back sometimes and take, the I out of it and put the we in it, and find ways that we can do better. The next generation is going to look at us and either say, wow, man, I'm glad they didn't pass it on to us. Or they're going to say, wow, here we go again. So I think we owe it to the next generation and the generation now and the one that came before us to do a better job.
Absolutely. And I know a couple of years ago when I met with the HBCU presidents, I told you about that. You've seen that along with the clergymen. My thing was to them, don't say y'all didn't know about this. You know what I mean? See, it's one thing to not know about something, but when you actually there meeting with someone, and I'm telling you what we're trying to do, but for whatever reason, their agenda was totally different, but you can't say you didn't know about it. And we need to stop thinking that if it ain't white, it ain't right. We just got to stop thinking that way. And we got to stop being so distrustful of one another. I started this, 25 years ago, called me marriage, called me a lot of stuff. And I got grandkids and, someone like yourself have to be, we standing on people of color shoulders now to be able to do what we're doing.
Right.
You understand? Right. So now it's time for someone that stand on our shoulders and continue what's going on, because I'm telling you right now, this pandemic is telling people and trying to wake people up. Things are going to change.
Yes.
That you can roll with it or you can roll under it. But I'm telling you, they have to decide, because this right here is trying to wake people up and tell them something, you got to wake up. Something was really wrong.
Yeah, and I think too, my father, who's a former executive for Xerox, Morris Brown graduate, make sure I say that, he taught me early. He said, how do you get an elephant to move? He said, you can try to pull it, you can try to push it.
No, that
probably not going to
work. Yeah.
The only way you get an elephant to move, it has to trust you. You got to show it love. You got to be compassionate. You got to be, honest about, hey, look, this is what we need to do, and that's how we do it. Unfortunately, we keep trying to force and push and pull and tug.
Right.
If our intent is to heal and to show people how to fix, the things that people keep passing on, then we got to take a different approach. It's the big brother approach. If the big brother knows he can't be fighting the little brother and the little sister, like, come on, man, you responsible for taking care of them.
It's like when we was young, your big brother always brought you along. You know what I mean? He always pull you along. Even if you fell down, he'll pull you along. Come on.
And let me say this too. I think COVID also has caused us to be a little bit closer to each other.
Absolutely.
We may be so far away. We may be from different places. We may have different interests, but there are some things that we don't differ on, and that is family. That is faith. Whatever your faith is, you believe in something.
Absolutely. And you got to believe in something.
Yeah, you believe in something. You ain't just walking around not believing in nothing.
You got to believe in something.
There's no way you can
say, why not believe in us?
Guess what? Well, here's the deal. Right now, with this COVID going on, you believing in something.
Yeah.
It's going to force you to go in some type of direction to try to get some type of grounding. But I think it's important for us to understand where we are right now. Sometimes when everything is chaotic, God says, peace be still. And know that I'm God. Stop. Let's just stop. Look at the world. Everybody trying to hurry up and jump back out. Sometimes just press pause. It's okay to press pause and take some time to step back. And I think that, as the MFL continues to grow and expand and to reach communities, like, people don't have a clue what we plan to do with this MFL. I mean, honestly speaking, it's so many things that we already have in the works for the youth. I'm even talking about. I'll just mention this. I'll mention this, and then I'm gonna be quiet on that, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about the combine stuff. But let me just say, esports is something that the MFL will challenge anybody when we finish, and I'm gonna stop right there with that, because guess what? Even though we can't do anything right now, we have some things in the works. So I would encourage everybody to check this out. When we start these combines, show up. Matter of fact, Miles, is the link back up to go ahead and register for the combine?
Everything is ready to go.
Go to the MFLishere.com. Register for the combines today. It is filling up fast.
Yeah.
We're not going to take a whole lot of guys on the same day, because we're actually going to sign players that day. Absolutely. We're trying to fill up rosters that day. So if you miss that day, you probably won't be able to play for that MFL team in that city. Michigan has already reached out. I've already spoken to Georgia. And so, we're just working on some dates and waiting on the safety clearances, because we want to make sure everybody stays safe. But at the end of the day, we got people who are ready to rock. And so I would say, with these combines, it's going to be professional style. I mean, we're not coming from a new space. We've done stuff with the Marine Corps and other initiatives. So we know exactly what we're doing, and we're gonna make sure that we show guys and teach guys the proper techniques and safety. We got guys who played in the NFL too. So I mean, the objective is for us to build a bridge. Okay, the objective is for us to not be something we're not, but to be who we are, and to be able to make sure that people who aspire to be great understand what that means. If anybody ever trained with Chuck Barlow Jr., I mean, I've done some stuff with John Lewis. I mean, my name, people know what I've done, and Jamal Lewis, in terms of how he was able to be so effective. I mean, I trained with these guys when I was in school. These guys would come on, we would all get together, and that's what I like. With that Grind Atlanta, a lot of guys come on from college, man. We got some awesome young men, scholar athletes. That's what I call them. Even if your GPA not high enough yet, what I tell you is the same effort you put in coming to train, guess what I'm going to start doing? Send me your grades. I got a young man that just sent me his grades the other day. I was more proud of him sending me his grades than the fact that he could tell me he run any or catch any pass in the world. Because I know that if you can commit yourself to making yourself better off that field, it can't nothing stop you. And I think that's what we're saying is, I'm not asking everybody to necessarily feel like they have to dive into the MFL, but what I'm saying is the MFL is a brand.
This brand been around a long time, and we want guys to understand. Didn't mean to cut you off. We want guys to understand that, man. We want to also employ former players because we got to take coaches over to Africa, man, to train
That's
these
right.
guys. You know what
That's
I mean?
right.
We still have to train them to American rules of the game, and
That's right.
that's an opportunity for guys too. You don't have to coach in the MFL, but we're
Right.
gonna take coaches over there.
Right.
You know, so these are some of the things that we're doing.
Right. I mean, the time is now. God could never create a better time for you to be great.
And I always
Get
say
in it.
time
I
is
mean,
everything.
we talked about it and we laugh about it to this day. You know how we met. I mean, we were
at
at a
the
banquet.
At the
The
dinner.
last major weekend where people could even gather more than
the
10
Watkins
people.
Award. Yep, the Watkins Award. And it was really nice. And before this really broke out, and it was real. That Watkins Award was something nice, but it wasn't that but God. It gave us a chance to meet people, and even Coach down in Florida. I mean, go a night, man. I mean, I met some great people like yourself there, but it was only God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was only God. Down in Florida, I met. Man, this GM is unreal. That I can't say enough about Pat Freeman, man, up there, man. You see what he's doing up there in Rochester. It's unreal, man. All of them, and up in Michigan, everybody doing stuff. We talked to Detroit Lions about the stadium up there. You know, that's what doing up there, the GM up there in Michigan. So, you know, everybody, you know, we got quality people, man. I got 500 more resumes, but we want people in that area. We don't want people going cross country, you know, because who know more people better than you down in Atlanta? It wouldn't make sense to send you up there and oh, okay, it's a great job, but no, we want people that stay home. We want the players to stay home. These are the type of things that we're trying to do, and we want to be a part of. And like I said, we want people to experience what the MFL is doing. I mean, you know, the MFL is the laboratory of change, and we can't say that enough. We are the laboratory of change, and we want people to understand. Come look at what we're doing. I always tell people documentation be conversation.
Oh yeah, definitely all day.
What we're gonna do, I'm gonna tell you what we already have done.
Right.
This is what we already have done.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, we're employing people. I mean, we're not asking nobody to do nothing for free. You know what I mean? This is the laboratory of change, and this COVID thing, you know, like I said, I wish everybody well, and please be considerate of other people, man. Wear the gloves, wear the mask and stuff. Don't go out there; it's not safe. But we got some good people here, and we get ready to do some great things. And like I say, we do our show live every Wednesday and Friday at 5 o'clock, and on Saturdays on DC Radio Inside the MFL, a radio show at 11 o'clock. So we want people to understand what we're doing here. You know what I mean? So that's what we really excited about. You know, no pressure on us. You know, people always ask, what you gonna do? Because we don't play. We've been around 25 years. We don't mind putting it off to 21.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just more of a blessing for us. You know, we're not concerned about what we're doing. You know. Yeah. So the combines, you know, we definitely, as you were stating about the combines, tell them you're all excited about this, huh?
I'm back. Hey, look, hey, the devil alive. We could be back on.
That's right. You can't stop.
So real quick, I just want to say too, Myles, this is a great opportunity, and yes, Paul, we'll be hosting that combine. Hopefully, you know, we could do some great things out there. But what I want to say is that, yeah, you had a chance to hear from me today, and I'm, you know, I am who I am. But I want to also say that Coach Saul is who I definitely wanted you all to hear from today, and I'll make sure that we get his technical difficulties dealt with so he can be on, because to hear from him and to be coached by somebody who, you know, had over 100 offers and decided to choose Morris Brown over Ohio State, you know, only because playing the first Super Bowl, only because the coach said he would take his whole senior class. Like, that's huge. So I just want to thank you all for this opportunity. I look forward to serving our communities. MFL is here. and we live with the MFL.
All right. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. This is another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Richard Myles Sr., and we'll see you on Friday. Thank you for joining us.